She's on the table, her life hanging by a thread, and everyone's praying. But faith might not be enough this time. Karen's fate is finally revealed. And trust us, it's not what anyone expected. SISTAS, Season 9. Episode 3 wastes no time, diving straight into chaos, heartbreak, and confrontation. Titled Having Faith, the irony practically bleeds through the screen. Because faith? It's being tested, broken, and maybe completely abandoned. Karen is still in surgery, barely clinging to life, and the tension is unbearable. But here's the twist. While doctors are fighting to save her, it's the people outside the operating room that are unraveling. The waiting room might as well be a battlefield. Zach is an emotional wreck, pacing, snapping, blaming. And who's in his line of fire? Fatima and Sabrina. He's convinced they didn't do enough, didn't act fast enough, didn't care enough. And while part of us wants to scream at him to calm down, another part wonders, is he wrong? Was there a moment, a split second, where one decision could have changed everything? Because now it's too late for what-ifs. Meanwhile, Fatima's had enough. The same woman who kept her cool in courtrooms is now boiling over with fury. She saw the negligence with her own eyes. She heard the dismissive tone, the shrugged shoulders, the thinly veiled racism. And this time, she's not just a bystander, she's a lawyer with a personal vendetta. A lawsuit isn't a possibility anymore. It's a promise. And Andy? Oh, don't think she's sitting quietly. She's digging hard. Who is Dr. Cruz really, and why is she so hesitant to talk about him? Something's off, and Andy knows it. Rumors are swirling about a past riddled with malpractice, silenced complaints, and cover-ups. And if any of that is true, if this doctor was the one responsible for Karen's worsening condition, then we're not just talking about a lawsuit. We're talking about a full-blown reckoning. But let's be honest, Karen isn't the only one in critical condition. The friendship dynamic? Shattered. Tensions are through the roof. Secrets are bubbling under the surface. And heartbreak? It's coming for more than one character. Sabrina's guilt is written all over her face. But what is she really hiding? Did she know something and say nothing? And then there's the baby. Karen's newborn may have survived, but at what cost? And here's the cruel twist of fate. Even if the baby is stable, Karen's body may never be the same again. Fertility, emotional health, physical recovery, all uncertain. And no one is talking about it. Yet. Everyone's too focused on survival to ask, what happens after the surgery? The show doesn't shy away from heavy themes, and episode 3 hits even harder. Systemic medical neglect, the trauma of Black women being dismissed in hospitals, the emotional toll that never gets airtime. But now it's front and center. And Fatima, she's about to turn her rage into legal fire. With Andy by her side, or maybe not. Because what if Andy's loyalty isn't as clear-cut as we thought? What if her silence isn't fear, but protection? Whose side is she really on? And what would she lose if the truth came out? The storm might have passed in SISTAS Season 9, Episode 3, but Episode 3? It's the eye of the hurricane, and the damage is just beginning. So, when the anesthesia wears off, will Karen wake up to a new beginning or a nightmare she can't escape? While Karen lies unconscious, her world is erupting without her. And just when you think emotions can't run higher, Zach completely loses it. We're talking full-blown breakdown. But this isn't just about fear or grief. It's guilt, regret, and maybe something deeper. In a brutally raw moment, Zach says what everyone suspected, but no one dared to admit. He still loves her, not just in a we have history kind of way. This is messy, complicated, still burning love that threatens everything he's built with Fatima. And just like that, the room goes quiet. One confession, and the foundation of every relationship in this circle starts to crack. Fatima, already livid over Karen's treatment, now finds herself blindsided by Zach's words. Imagine fighting for your friend's life, launching a legal battle against a hospital, and in the middle of it, your man drops that bombshell? But Fatima doesn't fold. She sharpens. This isn't a woman who cries in bathrooms. This is a woman who files lawsuits and buries people in discovery motions. If Zach wants to unravel, fine. But she's got bigger problems, like making the hospital pay. Meanwhile, Andy is walking a tightrope. Her investigation into Dr. Cruz is moving fast and getting dangerous. Whispers of past misconduct, terminated licenses, and shady boardroom deals swirl through her phone calls. But here's the kicker. Andy might have known about Cruz long before Karen ever walked into that hospital. Maybe not the full story, but enough to have warned someone, enough to have raised a flag. So why didn't she? Was she protecting a friend or herself? And if you think that's the end of the betrayals, think again. Because Sabrina? She's not just riddled with guilt. She's hiding a secret. A big one. Something that could change how everyone views the night of Karen's crisis. Rumors are swirling that Sabrina was distracted, somewhere she shouldn't have been, with someone she definitely shouldn't have been with. A mystery hookup? A missed call? A deleted voicemail? The clues are piling up, and whatever happened that night, it wasn't as simple as poor timing. Back at the hospital in SISTAS Season 9, Episode 3, the legal drama kicks into high gear. Fatima, with Andy reluctantly in tow, begins gathering evidence. Medical records are pulled, witnesses are questioned. But what they find? Disturbing. Karen's initial complaints were downplayed. Her vitals weren't monitored properly. Notes were altered. And worst of all, Dr. Cruz isn't just negligent. He's protected by higher-ups, by the system. The lawsuit isn't just personal, it's political. And once they go public, they'll be going to war with an institution that's built to bury people like Karen. And still, amid all this chaos, there's a flicker of something else. Something no one expected. Romance. Karen's condition may be critical, but the emotional heat hasn't cooled. Zach isn't the only one facing temptation. Andy, while chasing down Cruz's history, finds herself unexpectedly drawn to a new character, possibly another attorney or medical insider, who's helping her connect the dots. It's subtle. A glance, a comment, a moment of understanding, but it's there. And Sabrina? Yeah, whatever secret she's hiding might not be a one-night fling. It might be the beginning of something reckless or real. With every minute that Karen stays unconscious, more truths surface, more lies unravel, and one thing becomes disturbingly clear. Even if she survives the surgery, her world will never be the same. Her baby may be safe, but who's left to trust? A man who still loves her? Friends who turned on each other? A system that nearly killed her? So, when Karen opens her eyes, who will be standing at her bedside? And who's already walked away? It's been hours. The surgery lights flicker off, the doctors emerge, and suddenly, time freezes. One look on the surgeon's face and everyone knows. This isn't a clean victory. Yes, Karen's alive, technically, but the news, it's far from comforting. She's stable, for now. But the complications are severe: internal bleeding, organ stress. And the cruelest twist? The damage may be permanent. She may never carry another child. And just like that, hope turns into heartbreak. But the real shock? Karen's mother arrives. That's right, finally. And she is not here to play. She's furious, she's grieving, and she's asking the questions nobody dared to say out loud. Why wasn't Karen taken seriously from the start? Who failed her? And most painfully, where was everyone when her daughter needed them most? This isn't a welcome reunion. It's a reckoning. Old wounds resurface. Bitter words are exchanged. And one brutal accusation changes the temperature in the room. Karen's mother blames all of them. Zach, Fatima, Andy, even Sabrina. Especially Sabrina. She says they were too caught up in their own drama to see what was happening. And worst of all, she's not wrong. Meanwhile, the lawsuit is gaining traction. Media outlets start sniffing around. A reporter is spotted outside the hospital asking about systemic mistreatment of Black female patients. Fatima, ever the strategist, leaks just enough to spark outrage. but not enough to show her cards. Andy's hesitant, still dancing that tight line between legal integrity and personal loyalty. But as more evidence surfaces, even she can't stay neutral. The malpractice? It's worse than anyone thought. It wasn't just Cruz. It was nurses, policies, procedures, a whole chain of failures, the kind that get institutions sued for millions. And somewhere in all this chaos, someone is sabotaging them. That's right. A nurse goes missing. A file disappears. Witnesses change their stories. Someone in the hospital is covering tracks. And fast. But who? Is it Dr. Cruz himself? A hospital administrator? Or someone even closer to the friend group? The mystery deepens when Fatima gets an anonymous tip. A whistleblower willing to speak, but only off the record. And the voice on the line? Terrified. They say Karen wasn't the only patient dismissed. There were others, and one of them didn't survive. Suddenly, this isn't just about Karen anymore. It's about a pattern, a cover-up. And now Fatima and Andy are sitting on the edge of a legal powder keg. Blow it open, and they'll destroy lives. Stay silent, and they become part of the system they swore to fight. So what do? Meanwhile, Zach is spiraling. Regret doesn't even begin to cover it. He confesses to Fatima that if Karen doesn't recover fully, he'll never forgive himself. Not just because of the baby or the love he buried, but because deep down, he thinks he saw the signs and ignored them. And what if he's not the only one? What if everyone saw something and said nothing? And then, the trailer gives us a blink and you'll miss it moment. Karen, eyes fluttering. A faint heartbeat monitor beep. Is she waking up? No one's ready for what she'll say, especially Zach. Because if she remembers everything that happened before surgery, then his confession, his meltdown, his lingering love, yeah, she heard it all. But will she forgive? Or finally walk away from them all? She opens her eyes, slowly, painfully, but she's back. Karen is awake, and with her awakening comes a storm the others aren't prepared to face. Because this isn't the Karen who went under anesthesia full of fear and uncertainty. This is a woman who has walked through fire, barely survived, and she is done being everyone's burden. The moment she locks eyes with Zach, you can feel the weight of everything unspoken between them. His guilt is written across his face, his love as raw and real as ever. But Karen doesn't smile. She doesn't cry. She doesn't reach for him. Instead, she says just one thing. "Where's my baby?" Her voice cracks, but her eyes are sharp, focused. She's not asking to be comforted, she's demanding answers. And suddenly, everyone realizes Karen's memory is intact. Everything said around her, everything whispered while she was unconscious. She remembers every word. Zach stumbles. He tries to explain, apologize. But Karen isn't interested in excuses, not anymore. She thanks him for showing who he really is, for finally saying the truth. But the days of emotional whiplash are over. She's not going back to that triangle of tension, love, and lies. She's choosing herself, her healing, her child. Whether Zach fits into that picture? That's now her decision, not his. Fatima watches all of this with a poker face made of steel. She's hurt, sure, but not surprised. She knew Zach's heart was complicated. She just didn't know how deep it still bled for Karen. But there's no time for heartbreak, because Fatima is on a mission, and nothing, not even love lost, will derail her now. Behind the scenes, the lawsuit explodes into public view. Media outlets run headlines like, "Black woman nearly dies after hospital neglect, lawsuit filed," and "Attorney Fatima Wilson takes on broken healthcare system." Fatima becomes an overnight hero for some, and a villain for others. Trolls flood her inbox, reporters stake out her house, and inside the hospital, the walls start to close in. Dr. Cruz? Gone.
quietly suspended pending investigation. But Andy's still not satisfied. She wants him prosecuted. She wants a paper trail. And more than anything, she wants justice. But here's the curveball. Someone offers her a deal. A hush-hush agreement to settle the case quietly with a hefty payout in exchange for total silence. No press, no trial, no justice. It's blood money. And Andy knows it. But Fatima? She wants war. She wants public hearings. She wants faces named. And suddenly, the sisters are at odds again. Not because they don't care, but because they care too much in different ways. One wants justice, the other wants victory. And neither is wrong. Meanwhile, Sabrina's secret finally explodes. She was with a man the night Karen collapsed, someone she shouldn't have been anywhere near. A toxic ex? A rival's lover? A married man? The show doesn't reveal everything. Yet. But it's enough to shatter the group's trust. And when Karen finds out, let's just say the look on her face isn't forgiveness. It's betrayal, cold, sharp, and unforgettable. But the real twist? That anonymous whistleblower? They show up, in person, nervous, eyes darting, clutching documents. And what they reveal changes everything. Turns out, the hospital knew about Dr. Cruz's history. They covered for him, altered records, pressured staff, and worst of all, they've done it before. The death of another black woman months prior? Swept under the rug. A payout, a signed NDA, a grieving family silenced. Karen wasn't the first. She almost wasn't even the latest. Now the lawsuit becomes something else entirely, a class action case. Multiple victims, a legal tsunami, and at the center of it, Karen. Her trauma, her voice, her survival, it's not just personal anymore. It's political. And the system that nearly killed her is about to be dragged into the light, piece by piece. But even as justice looms, personal lives crumble. Zach and Fatima? Broken. He begs for forgiveness. She doesn't say no, but she doesn't say yes either. Because sometimes love isn't enough. Sometimes respect has to come first. Andy? Torn between her loyalty to Fatima, her ethics as a lawyer, and her complicated new connection with the man helping her expose the truth. Lines blur, tensions rise, and one wrong move could cost her everything. Karen, now recovering in a private room, finally holds her baby. It's a beautiful moment, quiet, sacred. But her peace is short-lived. A nurse whispers that the hospital's board is pushing back hard, that they're questioning her credibility, that some are saying she exaggerated, lied, was hysterical. And just like that, Karen knows. This fight isn't over. It's just begun. Episode 3 ends not with a resolution, but with a war cry. A promise that the story isn't slowing down. And the trailer? Oh, it gives us everything. Courtroom battles, tearful confrontations, secret meetings, and one moment where Karen stands on a podium, microphones in her face, voice shaking, but powerful. And as she speaks, the world watches. Because Karen isn't just a character anymore. She's a symbol, a mother, a survivor, and now, a warrior. So now the real question is, when the truth finally comes out, who will survive the fallout? And who will be buried by it? The drama unfolding in SISTAS Season 9, Episode 3 is more than just a storyline. It's a mirror reflecting real struggles, raw emotions, and the harsh realities many face behind closed doors. Karen's journey from hope to despair, and now toward a fragile kind of strength, is heartbreaking yet inspiring. Watching her fight for survival, for her baby, and for justice isn't just television. It's a call to pay attention to the voices often ignored in medical halls and courtrooms alike. But the ripple effects of Karen's crisis don't stop with her. Zach's unraveling exposes just how complicated love and loyalty can be when tested by trauma. His confession, his breakdown, and his desperate need for forgiveness lay bare the messiness of human relationships. And Fatima? She is the unshakable force, the storm that won't let the hospital's negligence go unanswered. Through her legal fight, we see the power and pain of turning personal tragedy into a public battle for justice.
Andy's role as the investigator and reluctant truth seeker adds another layer of tension. Her ethical dilemma, her past with Dr. Cruz, and her emerging romance remind us that sometimes the hardest fights are internal. When loyalties blur and secrets threaten to unravel everything, trust becomes the rarest and most valuable commodity. Sabrina's secret fling, the betrayal whispered behind closed doors, and the mounting pressure on the hospital system itself all combine into a narrative thick with suspense, emotion, and real stakes. This isn't just entertainment, it's a drama that calls out the systemic failures, the personal betrayals, and the difficult choices faced by those caught in the crossfire. As the lawsuit escalates from a personal vendetta into a broader call for systemic change, the stakes grow higher. Karen's survival means more than just one woman's victory. It signals a possible turning point for many. And yet, the battle is far from over. With threats, cover-ups, and the shadow of retaliation looming large, the question remains, who will stand firm and who will crumble under pressure? The cliffhangers in Episode 3 leave us with more questions than answers, and that's the beauty of this season. Every secret uncovered only opens the door to deeper mysteries. Every emotional confrontation forces us to reckon with uncomfortable truths about friendship, love, justice, and survival. So what's next? Will Karen's voice become the loudest in a movement demanding accountability? Will Zach and Fatima find a way back from heartbreak? Can Andy balance justice with personal loyalty? And what will Sabrina's secret mean for the fragile bonds holding this group together? If Episode 3 shows us anything, it's that SISTAS isn't just telling a story. It's sparking conversations about resilience, trust, and the fight to be heard. And for viewers, it's a roller coaster of emotions that keeps us glued to the screen, begging for answers and rooting for the characters we've come to know and love.